All right, well, good morning, everyone. You've almost made it through the morning session. As you heard, I'm Heidi DeBenedetti, Chief Operating Officer for Gilbane Building Company. It's an honor to be here. Our partnership with the iron workers could not be more important. You are the backbone of the construction industry, and more importantly, you are literally provide the structure for nearly every project that we put together. So thank you for your dedication, skill, and unwavering commitment. The impact of our industry is unmatched. There is nearly 8 billion people on this planet, and if you add up everybody in the AEC industry, that includes everyone in this room, it's about 4% of the population. That 4% shapes the built environment significantly and helps build lives for the remaining 96% of the population. There is no other industry that I can think of that has such an incredible impact on the world we live in. We build hospitals that cure the sick, schools that educate and mold the lives of our children, the properties that turn houses to homes, the stadiums where athletes compete and entertain, facilities that make cars, medications, and many of the products that we use in our everyday personal and professional lives. What we do touches every part of a community. The magnitude of what we do, who and how we touch those people is astounding. The challenges and opportunities are great, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. So, I work for Gilbane, a 155-year-old family-owned and operated company. It was founded in 1870 by two brothers who immigrated from Ireland. They landed in Rhode Island and started a residential housing company. From there, until now, they have grown into 3,500 employees, 45 offices, and $7.7 billion in annual revenue. We now have seventh-generation family members running around the company, which is pretty amazing. Giving back is fundamental to who we are. We aim to make a lasting impact in the communities where we live, work, and build. Although I come from a construction family, I never anticipated that construction was where I would end up. And I never considered it my path, and I fought hard against it. I had roles in law and business, in finance, in operations, and somehow I wound up right back here to the chagrin of my father, although very happy, I suppose, that I came back. But I ended up where I was ultimately meant to be, which is leading strong teams and developing successful building projects. This industry is complex in good times. It can be more complex in bad. And today, I would argue we are working in extraordinary times. We're facing challenges navigating regulations, tariffs, executive orders, changes in policy, labor shortage, cost escalation, supply chain impacts, and that's just to name a few. While at the same time, many of us have record backlog, we're seeing bigger, larger, more complex projects than we have ever seen, and we have advances in technology that are making our work easier and more precise. It is stressful, confusing, exhilarating. You get all the feels for what's happening in the industry right now. While we as leaders have to maintain an awareness of the industry landscape and develop strategies to ensure that our companies sustain and thrive, we also have an obligation to maintain focus on our employees, our trade partners, our clients, and their workforce. For Gilbane, that means taking control of what we can control, trying to block out the noise, trying to be laser focused on what we do, how we do it, how we treat our people, our partners, and their workforce. It is very easy with everything that is going on today to get confused, to get overwhelmed, to chase the shiny penny, to try to want to be everything to everyone. We struggled with that. We thought long and hard. We had meetings about how are we going to move forward? What are we going to do? How are we going to sustain and thrive? So here's what we've done. At a strategic level, we have 5 major themes. Deepening our presence. What that means is to go deeper, not wider. We want our business leaders to know their markets, know their geographies, and know their customers. Be self-aware. Know what we are good at, know what we are not good at, and focus. No chasing shiny pennies. Reducing initiatives. We are incredibly good at identifying problems and then thinking that we have to solve them all. And what that resulted for us was a tremendous amount of initiatives, too many unfinished swings, and never getting anything to the finish line. We have decided to focus on things that matter. That means deciding on what matters, clearing out the noise, and focusing only on those things, and then challenging ourselves if we're veering off course to come back to center. Enhancing interconnectedness. I told you we have 45 offices, and it's 45 offices around the globe. It is very easy for us to have 45 different ways of doing things. Now, you can imagine it's incredibly hard to scale when you've got no consistency. Our customers, clients, and trade partners were seeing an inconsistent experience when they worked with us. What they saw in Phoenix was not what they saw in Washington, D.C. And that's not good for anybody. That's not good for business. So we are focusing on the basics, bringing consistency to our platform, and then still finding ways to allow for entrepreneurism in our individual markets, because that is part of what makes us who we are. Only strategy, not a best strategy. So that does not mean that we no longer want to be the best, because I assure you, in every market where we are, we want to be the best. We want to dominate. We want to crush the competition. But our only strategy means we want to look for opportunities where we are the only provider. And I'll give you an example. A couple years ago, we had an opportunity with the Navy to bid on a project at on the island of Palau. I don't know if you know where that is. I didn't know where it is. I had to pull out my globe and spin it around and look for it. It's about a 26-hour trip from where we are here in Orlando. You get on a plane, you make your way to Hawaii. You have about an 8-hour flight from there to get to the island of Guam. And then you take a terrifying little charter flight on a very small plane to this lovely little island in the South Pacific. We bid that job. We won. We are now building our second project in Palau. We are the only general contractor on that island. It happens to be very strategically placed for our Department of Defense, for its initiatives in the Pacific. So we are there. I'm not going to say we're lonely. We're actually pretty okay being the only ones there, and I think we'll be the only ones there for a long time. So that is a bit of an extreme example of what I mean when I say being only, our only strategy. And then finally, prepare for megatrends. It is critically important that we know what is happening in this industry. Where is the puck going? We need to skate hard and fast and beat the puck to where it is going so that we can then be first. For our employees, clients, and trade partners, we developed our leadership tenets. We only have 5. We tried to keep it simple. I don't like anything more than 5 because I can't remember more than 5 things, usually at one time. So we kept it at 5. The first, be accountable to one another. That means that I don't care what your title is, who is the supervisor, how long you've been in this business. If you are on my team, then you are accountable to me and I am accountable to you. That is the only way that we are going to get things done. 2, trust each other. And that seems like simple, right? That seems simple. That is hard to do. But if you want to build extraordinary projects, you have to have trust. Number 3, be authentic, transparent, and vulnerable. This comes after trust. It is very hard to be any of those things if you do not trust the people you're with. But once you do, we recognize we're all human, we all make mistakes, we are all striving for the same objective, and we can work through any problem. Number 4, model a can-do attitude. Again, this business is not easy. You know that just as well as I do. It is hard, and problems arise, and sometimes they are really big problems, and sometimes they are not that big. But almost no problem gets solved by one person on their own. It takes a team. So when something seems difficult, we break it down, and we figure out how do we come to the best solution possible. And finally, own the team's decisions. So, we argue, we disagree, we push back, we have conversations, we ask tough questions, we debate the crap out of things. But at the end of the day, when we have made a decision, we own it. We are one team, one decision. There is no Monday morning quarterbacking, there is no second guessing. We leave that room and we are united in a single strategy. Now, I make it sound like this was very easy. It was not. It took our leadership team about a year to get to a place where we could actually say that I think we are living our tenets. And even today, we still have times where we have to challenge each other and say, you didn't show up today like you said you would. But we have accomplished more as a leadership team since we put these tenets in place than we had ever done when we were all behaving as individuals. So leadership tenets are a good start, but they aren't enough. Everyone has a role to play to achieve better outcomes. And what do I mean when I say achieving better outcomes? I mean that it is our goal that everyone goes home better than when they showed up in the morning. And that could be because you learned a new skill. That could be because you had a great interaction with someone else. Or it could be that you just flat out had a really good day. It doesn't matter. We just want you to go home better than when you arrived. Like others, we do a tremendous amount of training. We focus on our pre-task planning. We talk about and actively think about the stuff that can kill you. But the thing that keeps us up at night that we have not figured out how to overcome on our projects is complacency. And I'm going to tell you a story of complacency because it happened to me. So last year, I was around walking jobs, and I decided I was going to do an experiment. And my experiment was simple. When I walk a job, I'm going to grab whoever I'm walking with. Most of the time, it's the superintendent, because the superintendent tends to be my favorite person on the project. So I grab the superintendent, and I say, we're going to walk this project, and all I want you to do is think out loud. That's it. And I'm going to do the same. And the first few times I asked somebody to do that, they were like, is this a test? Is it a trick? Like, what is it? And I said, no, I want to see the job through your eyes. I want to know what's going on in your head. I want to pull that knowledge out of you. And those have been some of the best, hands down, project walks that I have had in years. The conversations that I have on those walks have been amazing. So last December, I'm at a large healthcare project, and I'm walking with a senior general named Cole. I do what I do. I asked him, I want you to think out loud, and we had an amazing walk. About an hour into it, we find ourselves on the second floor, overlooking a first-floor high bay warehouse area. And there's a wood railing that's been constructed at the leading edge. It would have been right about here. And as we're walking up, I'm not even thinking, and I reach out and I grab the railing and I give it a little shake. And I guess I satisfied myself that it was sturdy. And so I go to start to lean on it, to look over, to see what's going on down below. And Cole grabs onto the back of my safety vest and pulls me back. I was a little surprised. And I said to him, what are you doing? Why did you do that? And his answer was very simple. Did you build that handrail? And I said, well, of course, you know I didn't build that handrail. And he said, well, then you don't lean on it. And in that moment, I thought, oh my God, I could have just become a statistic on this project. I know better. I walk hundreds of projects. I know what to do and what not to do on a job site. And that got me thinking that we have people on our job sites every day who think, I'm just going to do this one thing. It's only going to take me a minute. I've done this 100 times. It'll be okay. No one who gets significantly injured on a project thinks that they are about to do something that is going to get them seriously injured. As an industry, we have to find ways to overcome complacency. And until we do that, we will see injuries and fatalities on all of our projects. And that's not acceptable. Safety goes beyond physical safety. Equally important is a focus on mental health. And I know you're going to be hearing a lot about mental health while you're here. The construction industry is #1 in fatalities. Every 12 minutes, a construction worker commits suicide. That means in the time that I have been up here speaking to you, at least one worker has committed suicide. And that's not okay. Several years ago, Gilbane started its Lifesaver program. We partnered with Dr. Sally Spencer Thomas to help us develop a program focused on holistic safety. We train our field teams and our office workers on warning signs, what to watch for, how to have a conversation, and we got really comfortable having a lot of very uncomfortable conversations. We tell everyone that it's okay to not be okay. We have chips made that on one side say, it's okay not to be okay. On the back side, it says your life matters, and it has the suicide prevention hotline. We give those chips out everywhere we go. If you are on a Gilbane project and you need help, or you are not okay, there is no judgment. We've got you. We encourage you. Speak up, ask for help. Let us be there for you. We're incredibly proud of the work in this area. We've saved more than one life. And while I would hope to say we would not be in the life-saving business, we'll continue doing it until we start to see an end to construction suicide. So I mentioned complacency keeps me up at night. Our worker shortage is the other thing that keeps me up, and I can't sleep. Over the last 2 years, we have added 200,000 workers in the construction industry year over year. Yet at the end of 2024, there were still 200,000 active job openings. The Associated Builders and Contractors says that in 2025, we need to add 439,000 skilled craft to our workforce. And in 2026, that number increases to 500,000. We want to be creative and partnered on how we bring more people to the industry. Our union partners have some of the best, hands down, amazing training and apprenticeship programs in the United States. How do we get creative and leverage those programs, looking in places where we might not have otherwise looked, to bring workers to this industry? So I will end with a call to action. 3 things that I want to leave you with. If you take nothing away from anything I said, I want you to remember 3 things. 1, safety. Every day, try your best to fight complacency. If you are on a job site, think about what you are going to do. If you see somebody doing something unsafe, say something. 2, mental health. Make sure that everyone you encounter knows that their life matters. And 3, get creative, partner with us, and find ways to bring workers into this amazing industry that we all love so much. Thank you.